Aberystwyth, Bicester, Ilfracombe, Ascot, Cirencester, Manchester, Edinburgh. These British place names are terrible tongue twisters. But for all of us who don't have a history PhD diploma on our ego walls, where do they come from and how do they end up this way? The first thing to notice is that there are patterns in the way in which they're named. They're not random. These patterns come from the meanings of the endings, in the case of Chester, Ford, Ham, but also the beginnings. Aber for Aberdeen and Inver of Inverness are good examples. And they also reveal a series of influences. And this is where history comes in, unannounced as always. The UK, made of Northern Ireland, Wales, Scotland and England, which many people refer to the whole of the UK to the annoyance of the other parts of the UK, have gone through Celtic, Roman, Danish, Norwegian and Norman invasions. But the invasions, which much to the pride of the British people haven't really happened since 1066, have brought not just people, but also language. Celtic, in the case of Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, and Germanic, Latin, Norse and French for England. In fact, around Roman times, the largest recorded town in the UK was Colchester. Notice the Chester, it shows up in a lot of places. Actually, anyone who knows how the Romans structured their towns may have heard of castrum, the Roman-style fortification and military complex of towns. This gives away the origin of Doncaster, Manchester, Colchester from earlier, and also the tongue twisters, Bicester, Cirencester, and Leicester, not Leicester. The Chester variation arose simply from the evolution of what would become the English language. And then you have the Hams, Birmingham, Nottingham, Buckingham, etc. This one has got links to German actually. Heim in German meaning home, and since English is a Germanic language, like German, Danish and Swedish, the Ham suffix points out where homestead was. Obviously, humans like living next to other humans, so homesteads of a handful of people grew and turned into villages, or, in the case of Birmingham, the second largest city in the UK. Sorry Manchester, keep trying. Alright, but those are the easy ones. What about Aberystwyth? You're right, there's a couple that don't lend themselves to easy explanation that way because they've got Celtic rather than Latin or Germanic roots. A lot, if not most of these places are in Scotland. Aberdeen, meaning the mouth of the River Don, or Edinburgh, Hillfort, but the name changed due to Germanic language-speaking invaders from down south. They're also in Wales, Betsy Coed, meaning church in the woods, and Cardiff, which has that double D in the Gaelic Welsh spelling. Alright, the really tough ones you want, huh? Alright, Gumster in Cambridgeshire, Gotham in Nottinghamshire, Mousel in Cornwall, and Wolseley in Devon. Had enough of the tough ones? Good. Now let me explain why they're like that. English has gone through a lot of changes. Those invasions, as well as a lot of mingling, fighting and invading on the islands themselves. The end result was a mixture of languages that created English pronunciations. In fact, just looking at regional dialects, the pronunciation of words like grass and grass, as anyone in the south of England will tell you, makes a big difference in how things get spelled. And yes, we are moving towards uniformity of language in the UK. There's fewer and fewer Welsh Gaelic and Scottish Gaelic speakers, there's fewer regionalisms, that's words being used only in specific areas. For instance, spelk and splint used to be regionalisms for splinter back in the 50s and 60s up north. And to top it all off, for most of history, the vast majority of people were illiterate, so they would have known a place only by hearing its name. So pronunciation was the most important part, and if you were smart enough to write it down, good for you. The end result is a diversity in names that, thanks to a couple of centuries of tireless colonizing and naming and renaming places all over the once pink-colored globe, there's a lot of places that, if you read them out loud, make no sense. And I say, let's just look at those places and admire the strange history that shapes those places we live in. And if you haven't had enough of strange place names, Loughborough. Not Loughborough, not LOUGHBOROUGH, not LOUGHBOROUGH, or actually, screw it. You know what? It's now called LOUGHBOROUGH, because why not? And that, kids, is how places get named. As always, hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a thumbs up below if you liked it, and subscribe if you loved it. See you next time. Ciao!